What's up? Game is here, and I am joined by another important person. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, this is Aaron Spelker. I'm from Mobile Accessible Games.
All right, so you know it's Aaron and Mike and Aaron, ready to chat. Conjury. Yes, yes, we will be summoning creatures from the wrong side of the border. Um, Scratch that, from the wrong side of the dimensions, wrong side of the universe. All right. So we're going to do this in a round fashion. So we're going to talk about three different subjects, and you won't know unless you just listen. Uh, Aaron's going to give his opinion, then I'm going to give my opinion. And if you want to hear our discussion, you're going to have to swing by Game Double Tap, where we'll be talking about, why and what and who and all the good W questions. But for those of you here in game, we have a shorter format. We're just going to talk about something, spit it out there, and go through three rounds and then wrap it up. So, to get started, are you ready, Aaron?
Ready.
All right, I'm ready too. All right, the round one. All right, for round one, the question is, what weapons do you like in Conjuring? And Aaron's going to go first.
Okay, so as you play this game, as you know, you don't quite know what card you're going to get. But what I try to do is get any weapon card that grows in damage, so that there's some that every time you take damage, then your weapon does more damage, or if you draw a card, it does more damage, or if you use it and then it goes into your deck and then comes back out of your deck, then it has more damage. So anything that is growing damage, so that when you get to the third boss, you can do some major damage by having something that is really really powerful that you've been able to use and grow and get it where you can one kill people, is the goal. So that I'm a very much on anything that is growing. The boomerang, some of the swords that grow by drawing cards, or the sword where you get life back, soul something. I like that one too, to just heal me if I'm going to be in a long fight.
Oh yeah, those are all great. Question. Let me ask you this question, and I'll tell you my thing. Um, what do you? So you said you mentioned the one that grows life. Now that one has a low attack power, but it has the beauty of giving you back two health when you hit a creature. Um, you're a fan of that one, I suppose.
I do like when I get that one, because if you do some of the augment cards on it, where increase damage by three, or you get more usage out of it before it breaks, you suddenly have something that every time that you use it, you're also replenishing any damage that they may have done on the previous turn, so that you can really sustain a pretty long battle. So couple that, soul sword or whatever it's called, along with one of those other ones like the boomerang or one of the other ones that it's growing. You can really, stay in for a long fight, and that particularly comes in handy when you're fighting some of those boss battles.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So, my favorite weapon is very much the same as yours, and it's boomerang. So with boomerang, once you get it equipped, it gains plus one attack after it's destroyed. But there's a trick. So it doesn't matter what destroys it, whether you destroy it, the enemy destroys it, or whatever happens, it just gets plus one attack. And it keeps going up. And it stays in your hand. And you can augment it. And you can get ridiculous with it.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it is
yeah. If you
absolutely
can,
boomerang deck level. Go ahead.
yeah, if you can throw on one of those, damage plus three, and then
Sharpen.
it breaks. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
then
talking
it
about
breaks.
sharpen. Yeah,
Yeah,
sharpen
yeah.
has a plus three damage. Yeah.
Right. So then you are already kind of off to the races with that, because you're already get whatever it starts with two, add three to it. Now you're at five, and you're at six. You're really starting to hurt things quite well. And then there's the card, and again, it's been a little while since I played, so I forget the name of the cards. I know what they do, whatever. But there's a card where you can remove an equipped weapon and decrease the amount of mana it takes to re-equip that weapon. So that comes in
Yes,
really handy with the boomerang because the boomerang, I think, starts where you have to spend 3 mana to put it in. That's kind of costly, but you use that card a couple times and you get it down to just 1 mana to use the boomerang and then have it get damaged and then use it again. So like if you get something where you get it up to let's say 7 or 8 damage, well I used it, it broke, it's down in my or in my card deck. It's only costing me 1 mana. I re-equip it and I attack for instead of 7 now 8. And so suddenly in one round I've managed to do 15 damage off of 1 mana expenditure, and that can be super powerful.
exactly. Oh, definitely. And don't forget, you've got that card that allows you to attack with a equipped weapon twice.
Yeah,
So you can do like you said with that card that costs 1 mana and remove the boomerang. So you can equip it, attack with it, remove it, or you can add durability to it, hit a couple of times with it, remove it, equip it again, throw on that thing that allows you to attack twice, and now you just smash the creature in the face for maybe 30 damage.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, that's a lot of damage. So, any
Yeah.
last words on your favorite weapons that you
Well,
like in
I
Modern
also
One?
like, yeah, I also like the one that it's like there's kind of two versions of it. There's one that every time you draw a card, the damage goes up on your weapon, or every time you play a card, your damage goes up on the weapon. There's two different weapons, but similar thing. But I like that because I just let it kind of sit there in the background and grow and grow and grow just as I'm playing and using the boomerang all the time and get that going. And then suddenly now I have a
Right.
boomerang plus something that's doing 10 damage. And that you're really, really powerful that you can really knock stuff up. So anything that's growing, um, and again, when you get it up at 10 damage, you throw on some durability. Now I can use it more often and it continue to grow because I haven't used it, I haven't used it all up. So that can get really, really big. So growing weapons, I find, is the best. Now, this is not particularly a weapon, but I guess last thing, there is a shield that if you have it equipped, that any card that you have that has a choice, 4 block or 4 attack,
Yes. Hmm.
you actually get both of the cards. If you spend the 2 points mana to play that card, you don't have to make the choice. And that comes in
Hmm.
real handy too, because then you can be both offensive and defensive off of spending only 2 mana. So that comes in really great. So having a shield, then with a boomerang or with a growing sword, and you really have all your bases covered.
That's exactly the last part of this. The bonus question for those of you who are watching this on Game Double Tap, where this discussion is fully displayed, unedited. Your favorite combination? I think you covered it a little bit. The boomerang with maybe a shield or weapon that allows you to use both use items on a card,
Yeah,
so you get both choices. So if a card says draw 2 cards or draw 1 card, do 1 damage, or if it's one of those cards that says gain 2 attack, gain 1 reinforcement, or durability. So
yeah,
you're a big
yeah.
fan of that combo?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Because then, like you said, you can add the durability, use the attack, not still be holding, sorry, add the 2 attack points, add the durability. Now I attack, and I haven't really lost any ground off of that, one plane of that card with the shield. So yeah, I mean, I like the shield when I get it. Then I start building that way. I mean, as you know, with this game, you don't know what cards you're going to get, so you have to kind of see, well, what cards am I getting, and then build your deck around what you're getting. So when I get that shield, that's the kind of build I do. If I'm, get the boomerang early, or if I get one of the other growing ones early, that's what I try to use and try to build my support cards around that and reject cards that aren't going to support getting those more power.
You notice the AI also kind of crafts for you. So the minute you kind of select certain choices, say you're going for a weapon heavy build, the AI starts dropping in weapon related support cards. And if you're going for a magic high damage nuclear build, it starts dropping in some interesting cards. And again, we'll get into that, folks, on future episodes of Chatting Conjury. We're going to go different rounds. but we're also going to talk about the cards of Conjurers. Don't think we're forgetting about those. But yeah, so let's go ahead and end this round. I think Aaron, you win this round. That was like very, very thorough discussion of the best weapons. Let's go ahead and move on to the next round.
Okay, round two.
Round two, we're going to talk about the monsters we dislike. The monster I dislike, and I gotta say, okay, we gotta throw a big shout out before we get started here. Thank you, Dean Coulter, who is the designer and programmer of Conjury. This man here, Aaron Spelker, really, really wants to interview you. So if you're watching this, Mr. Coulter,
respond to my emails.
Yes, please. Yes, so folks, Dean Coulter is I would guess you would say, developer of Conjury. There's a bunch of folks in there, like there's SBL and I think it's Fox who does the music, because I love the music in this game. But anyway, we're getting distracted. Let's talk about the monster we dislike the most. But yeah, definitely, Dean Coulter, please, you know what I'm saying, answer Aaron's emails. But and there's also a Discord, Aaron, so maybe I'll drop some more information, folks, inside of the description. But here we go. The monster I dislike the absolute most is the porcupine. He's an absolute loser, which means he's excellent. Number one, he is the only monster that can hurt you physically, or if you use spell or any ranged attack. He still hurts you. It doesn't matter. I have lost so many times because this is the only. Okay, folks, I'm going to tell you why this monster is so bad. But first, Aaron, your turn. Which is your least favorite monster?
So my runner-up was Porcupine for certain reasons, and I do want to talk in detail about that. But mine is going to be a boss, and I think it's Cerberus.
Yeah, Syrinx, Syrinx or Severix the dragon, right?
Yeah, something like that. He's one of the bosses that you face, and the issue with he has like 75 hit points, and no matter what you do, whether you attack with 10 or 1 or whatever sort of damage, you only do 1 damage. So you basically have to hit him 75 times. So you have to really sustain a lot of damage that's going to be coming through. And all the these big builds that I'm doing, all these weapons that I'm doing that I want to grow and do big damage, they're kind of worthless. You want to do something that you can have a build at that point if you get him where you can do multiple attacks and use this weapon again, so you get multiple hits in a round. That's what you want to be trying to do, but often my build is not like that when I end up facing that boss. So that is just a real difficult one to manage. And it's a long slog of trying to get through, up to 30 some odd rounds that you're going with him and all of the other enemies that pop up. So that's just really a frustrating one. Porcupine.
Oh yeah, he's super annoying. He is.
Yeah.
I have a trick though for you. Go ahead.
Well, Porcupine. What I do with Porcupine is I just don't deal with him until I can one-shot kill him. So I'm not going to go and pick away at his damage, because every time I'm picking away at his damage, he's hurting me.
He's picking away at you, yeah.
Right. So what I do is I will block him, and then I will deal with whoever else is on the board. And then, if he's got, 8 hit points or whatever, once I get a weapon, because I'm always getting these growing weapons, once I get that weapon above 8, then I will just one-shot kill him. And so I only take the 1 damage against the porcupine. So that's how I kind of deal with the porcupine. So it kind of limits things a little bit. And then if you get in, you got the porcupine, and then you get whatever, a ghost that you can't hit them this round, then that gets kind of, some issues. Then you're just trying to be defensive and block through the round until you can take out the ghost and move on to somebody else. But the porcupine causes some troubles at points.
Definitely. So that is actually a great strategy with the porcupine. Again, I've been flirting with the ideal of just going into a defensive, and that's why I kind of did the rounds today. Because Conjury is very much like a fighting game, but it's cards. Um, excuse me. So the trick with Cyrix, just not trying to one up you, but because you've offered me great hints with Porcupine, because he is my bane, and I love your strategy. I'm going to implement it. The trick with Cyrix, whatever his name is, the dragon is, yes, he has 75 health. Every damage you do to him is only one, no matter what damage your weapon does. But there's a trick. If you
Got to load up
kill
the fire.
his consorts that come out, if you kill
Yeah,
those, they drop something called a black, like
right.
lance, and
Yeah,
that thing does
8
8 damage.
damage. So you could one shot kill their all of his opponents all the time.
No, what I do is I use you like you're a good weapon person. Use your weapons on his buddies. So don't use your weapons on Cyrix because he's just going to chew them up. Use your weapons on his consorts. Once his consorts are dead, grab the loot bag. In every loot, food, or weapon box, he's going to drop one of these black lances. Grab the black lance. It costs 2 mana to use it. Hit Cyrix with it. He'll take 8 damage. And basically, this is a great deck. Dealing with
Oh my God,
Cyrix,
is that true? He will take 8 damage from that?
he takes 8 damage. He is not invulnerable against that black lance. Yes, you can one shot his
Oh,
friends, but that they're trying to trick you. He takes full damage from it
I
because the
did not
card
know that.
says, yeah, the card says even dragons are not immune to the power of this weapon. Now you
Oh, I
don't get to
didn't.
keep this weapon, so it's
Yeah,
basically a
it's
nuke.
a one shot. Yeah.
One
Oh,
shot
I wish I
exactly.
realized that. So I just kept using that to just one shot kill his friends. Um,
Yeah,
and
yes.
then I would load him up with poison and fire along with my weapon. So
Burn,
you don't, yeah, burn,
burn
yeah,
and confuse are great on him.
right. So I would get him, with poison and burn and ice or whatever all the different things are, and I would load that up and do my attack. So I was basically getting maybe 5 hits a round. So however many that is that I have to do. 15 rounds I got to go really. When I get it all up and running. That's what I try to do with them. I wish I had realized that with the 8 because I saw those all the time and I just nuked used them to just
Yeah,
constantly
you
clear
need
out the
to,
friends. Yeah.
which is what they want you to do, but then you realize, wait a second here, I can just keep weapons rotating on my left and right slots, kill those little guys, grab that black lance, hit them with it. That's not its name, folks, by the way. It has a name, it's just kind of long. Again, the pronunciations are tough. Voiceover, you can't use your rotor to read or character by character go through any items because when you're using direct touch, there's no rotor activity on the screen. So we can't very well spell out all the names of all these things because we can't see it. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I probably should go to Discord and have him write all these things out and say, okay, what's this thing's name? Okay, what's this thing's name? So
Yeah.
okay, so that's gonna wrap it up for round two. What do you think? You or me? Who
Draw.
won that?
Draw.
Draw. All right, cool. All right, and now round three, Midtown. All right, round three. We're going to talk about the coolest part of Conjury is deck building. And this time, Aaron, you're going to go first. Tell us what kind of decks you like to build briefly, and
Yeah.
then we'll get into why and what you put in it.
Yeah. I mean, I very much go with a flow of what am I getting early on, and then try to accept and reject cards to just support that. So again, if I'm getting boomerang cards, well, I'm going to get things that are going to add damage. Do that one where you can take it out of your equipment and reduce it by 1 mana point. I'm probably going to stay away from durability because I want the weapon to break quickly so that it grows quickly. So I wouldn't really have a durability card in my deck if I'm going with a boomerang shield type of build per se. Um, so and if it's one of those ones where every time you draw a card, it grows, then I'm going to try to pick cards that by playing this card, I draw 3 more cards or I draw 2 more cards, so that I'm constantly drawing cards and really ramping up the results on that weapon. So it's very fluid for me to go in my deck build to just kind of go with what is supporting, particularly around the weapons that I am trying to use throughout the battle and throughout all the levels. So that's kind of my strategy. I'm always looking for things that give me extra mana. Either a banana that gives me two. Play this card, get 2 more mana for the round, or just
Oh
increase
yeah.
from 3 to 4 to 5 mana per round. I'm always looking for things that do that, whether from the shop or through some sort of card situation. So or reward that I get for beating bosses. So that's mana is very, very important. Making sure you have enough mana to play all your cards, because you got to be careful if you like I said, I like to have a lot of support cards, but you can easily end up with a hand that is basically all support cards with
Oh
nothing
yeah,
really to
the
play.
dead hand. that
Yeah, the dead
support
hand.
to support the dead card, to support the dead hand. When you have 4 support cards sitting there, you got and none of them are 0 mana cost, so you
Right.
can't like equip. You can go look for an equip, so you instantly like pull your deck. But you can't do that with certain cards. They're 1 mana, and you can't be wasting mana on all these support cards, right?
Or it's even something like, here, like you can increase your weapon durability, but I have no weapon currently equipped because it broke and now my deck is full and I mean, you can have a real dead hand where you can't even play the card.
Oh
Which
yeah.
gets real dicey.
It-
So you got to be a little
mhm.
careful on that. Particularly on something like I was saying, where you have this weapon that you're keeping in your hand because you want it to grow, grow, grow. Well, suddenly you'll be like, oh, I just got another one, and that might be great because now I can equip 2 of them. That's great, but now I've gotten a third one. What am I going to do with that? I don't
Ex-
even want that third
oh
one.
yeah.
I can't get rid
And
of
your
it.
deck's getting slow. At that
Yeah,
point, your deck's getting real slow, right?
yeah. So every once in a while, I do. If I feel like I'm getting a deck that has that sort of potential, I'll get that card where it's like destroy 3 cards and draw one or whatever. I'll get that just because I'll leave that in my hand if I need to kind of clear stuff out. Um,
That's where the
but
food bag comes in, because the food bag has those great cards like pumpkin, get 10 health, but discard 3 cards.
right,
Or you
yeah,
get the
exactly.
other one that says draw until you have 4 cards, or you have the other one that says discard X number of cards and get back 4 cards, something like that,
Yeah,
correct?
a swamp or whatever. Yeah,
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 so
yeah,
so you
definitely.
build let me so you build a deck that's fluid and based on kind of what the meta is for how it's giving you, as you said a few times before, which is 100% true. You don't have control over what cards they give you other than your starting cards. Your typical Yu-Gi-Oh deck starting cards, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, they give you jab and block. That's all you get to start with.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like the old days when folks you'd get like Big Gardener. Now you didn't get those kind of cards. You get the cheap cards. You got like Salamander and you got like Celtic Guardian. You got some weak cards. This is like the old Yu-Gi-Oh game. You get the weak cards to start off with, and then you go behind the counter and talk to the dude at the card shop, and you go, "Hey, how much for a starter box? $140." You know how many times my sons have cost me that much money getting these full, like, 24 pack card sets from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or if you're a big Verse fan or you're Magic the Gathering is kind of cheap. But Verse, Yu-Gi-Oh! Those games or Pokemon, those games are brutal. You would have to pay big money to get a whole like starter like a box of a bunch of card sets. And it kind of Conjury is a spiritual kind of predecessor. No, not a predecessor. Uh, Spiritual descendant of those ancient card games we played in the physical world, but now we play in the virtual world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. My build
nope.
is all
Mhm,
around the weapons. What weapon is it giving me at the very
mhm.
beginning, and then I'm gonna accept and reject cards around that weapon. Usually, that's how I do it.
I definitely agree. That's a great build. Okay, so my build, okay, I've got a couple, but I'm gonna throw just one out there for you folks who are just listening here. So my favorite build, other than Aaron's weapon build, is the sleepy time build. Yeah, it's just like all my other stuff on my other channels. Easy grind. Yeah, you just go to sleep and then you put a bunch of cards that function when you're asleep and that do just ridiculous amounts of damage and cost you nothing because the sleep deck, folks, is basically a deck that you got to have a lot of RNG luck. You got to have a lot of RNG luck. First of all, you've got to get rest because rest is one of the most powerful cards, but it doesn't exactly do good things if you're urgently trying to kill something because rest makes you go to sleep and you're basically spending 2 turns getting smacked. It's great. You cure all of your status ailments, and it also, unfortunately, costs 2 mana, but you'll get 20 hit points back. But see, sleep is not very good for the most part because you can usually get healing back with food bags. But here's where sleep is really, where rest is really great. It's called rest. Here's where rest is really great in a sleep deck, where when you're asleep, the cards you have not only cost very little mana, but also do all kinds of direct damage to the enemies. So there are weapons that function in your sleep. There are cards that burn for more damage in your sleep. And there are ways to improve your deck and your draws while you're asleep. So I started off doing a sleep deck with Ludolf, which is your first character you have access to with no gem cost. And Ludolf, oh my goodness, with that 20 hit points, he just smashed the enemies because I kept using rest. Then I'd go into my sleepy time offense. And I will do a deck, folks, so don't worry. In the link, in the description, I will leave a link to my sleep deck, along with, of course, Aaron Spelker's information. But I will leave you all a link. So if you don't believe that sleep can be a very powerful thing in Conjury, oh, you haven't seen anything yet. So that's my thing. All right, so that is round 3. What do you think, Aaron or
Excellent.
Mike? What do you think? Ty, was it another draw or we call it Mike? I think it's Mike.
Well, I'm gonna give it to Mike because you mentioned the sleepy time thing. I have not built a whole
Oh, do a sleep
rest
deck.
deck.
It's so fun. Aaron, it's so fun. All right, so we ended with a tie.
Ultimate tie, yes.
It's a tie. So there we go. But yeah, that is it. Round 1, weapons. Aaron won with the awesome boomerang combo. Round 2, we tied, talking about the most miserable, annoying boss and monsters of all time. I think Aaron hit it on the nose. Syrinx is super annoying. We throw a couple of tips in there for you, so go rewind if you need to. Rewatch the video 20,000 times in a row. And then third round, I think Mike won with the cool sleepy time, sleepy, easy grind deck, which allows you to do some broken combos, including use rest, the 2 mana cost card. But this is Conjury. The developer's name is Dean Coulter. Dean, this man here would love to interview you. Aaron, go ahead and tell people where they can find you and where Dean Coulter, the developer, the awesome maestro, can find you.
Yeah, so 3 main places. First, I have a Facebook group called Mobile Accessible Games. It's on Facebook. Search Mobile Accessible Games. We put out reviews of games every Sunday that are accessible for blind and visually impaired people on the iPhone. There's over 163 games that have been reviewed there so far, so there's a game for everybody.
Including Conjury?
No, Conjury is not up yet. That's coming in a couple weeks, the review.
Okay.
So that's coming. And then I have a YouTube channel, which is just under my name, Aaron Spelker, and that does interviews with game developers and accessibility content creators and accessibility advocates all around gaming. You can see me on Twitter under Mobile Accessible Games, where it's kind of more like accessibility gaming news. I do a lot of retweeting of what other people are saying around accessibility gaming. And then finally, you can go to pocketgamer.com, Aaron Spelker, and read articles that I've written for pocketgamer.com about mobile accessible gaming. So those are the places you can find me.
Man, and those are great places to find you. Exactly. So, folks, let me tell you something. Aaron Spelker, we're friends. Yeah, we bust each other's chops, but we're cool with each other. We got love. And like I said, what we do here is chat about the latest, greatest games. You can check out previous chatting about Eldrum, which was one of our most beloved. I think I have the most views for that one. Everyone loved
All
that
right.
one.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Great.
Chatting Eldrum. Yeah, everyone loves our Chatting Eldrum. This is Chatting Conjury. We're going to come back again for another three rounder. If you like that format, let me know in the comments. And swing
You
by
can
Aaron.
also, yeah, you
Go ahead.
go, well, on Mobile Accessible Games on the YouTube channel, you can see an interview one-on-one I've done with Mike about his channel. And then I think we have at least two Game of the Year or Game in Review, or sorry, Year in Review panels that Mike has been on with other content creators like Jesse Anderson and Liam Irvin, just talking about what's happened in the year in accessible gaming. So you can check those out on the YouTube channel and see me and Mike talking about gaming there as well.
Right. And I also want to throw a bit of a shout out to your latest video. Now, you just got through chatting with Brandon Cole, correct? So
I did, yeah.
before we just head out, tell us briefly a little bit about that. So when did this come up here?
So it posted today, actually. I think it was supposed to happen back at the January 3rd, but Brandon unfortunately came down with COVID, so he was out for a couple of weeks. We just recorded it last week. But it's the Game of the Year results. So every year, Mobile Accessible Games votes for Accessible Game of the Year, and every year I bring in a guest host to kind of do the countdown from 5 to 1 of the results of that voting contest. So Brandon was very gracious and was the guest host this year to kind of walk through the results at the Game of the Year at Mobile Accessible Games.
Excellent. So Aaron, send me the link. I'll put it in my description. Oh, I could probably do it myself. You don't even have to do all that. I'll do it myself. Save your energy. I want you getting that. I want you getting Conjury up on MAG. So Aaron's going to get that up there. Dean Coulter. Dean Coulter, we need you. We need you. We'd love to interview you. Love to chat with you. I think Aaron has said it before, and we'll say it again. We love your work. It's amazing. This is one of the funnest games. Could be game double taps game of the year this year. I'm just having so much fun. Last minute secret. I heard there's a secret unlockable character in Conjury
Oh,
that isn't on the select list, and it's unlockable. Oh yeah, it becomes unlocked if you unlock all the key levels for all the characters. So dang, nice little sneaky little trick you threw in there. I have no idea what this character does. I heard it's broken. So
I have unlocked all the characters, but I have not unlocked all the difficulty levels of all.
right. So you got to unlock all the key difficulty levels, and you will unlock this super secret special character who I have no idea who is. So I just recently only just unlocked the spell sword character, which is awesome.
That's
I
a
love
fun
that.
one.
Oh, he's broken, man. He's so easy. Oh man, I can't wait to get some busted combos on him. I'm playing him right now. Anyway, so that's going to wrap it up for us today, folks. I want to thank Aaron so much. Aaron, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Man, we'll come back and do some more chatting, Conjury in this format. We had a lot of fun. We'll definitely do this. And if you want to hear the long version of this interview slash chatting, go ahead and swing by Game Double Tap. That is my second channel where I have a little bit more kind of like ability to kind of like do really longer videos where we can really get into the meat of the stuff. Whereas here I kind of do my quick little video, maybe 10, 20 minutes. So I don't want to get too long. The algorithm is not very fair to real long videos sometimes. But on my second channel, I do what I want to do. So you know how it is. And check out Aaron and Aaron Spelker and all the other places, mobile accessible games. Aaron, any last thoughts before we chirp out?
And download Conjury and go review it on the App Store.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, thank you, Aaron, so much. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you very much. Love yourself, each other. Always be kind. Thank you, Aaron. And
Thank you.
we'll hear you all next time.